names of places. And we'll continue finding ways of roping them in. We are on point 3 now, confirmation, because we cannot lament Deputy Chair to add and to propose to council so that will be gazetted for the last quarter. I think that is the one needs then to say council resolve. So that is an additional item we are putting. Any other items before we adopt the agenda? Councillor Jordan? All right. And Councillor Khan? Parker?
No, Chair. I wish to propose that we add an item. I forgot to raise this yesterday. We add an item of probably expanding council subcommittees in terms of Section 7 of the Act. Then if council accept, then we'll expand on that when we come to that item. Just in addition to the subcommittees that we have in terms of,
Noted, Councillor.
Thanks.
Councillor Parker?
Thank you, Chair. I would like to just propose an addition to the agenda, and that is in terms of administrative support. Please, Chair, thank you.
Admin support. I will put your names next to it so that when we move, and then we'll look into that. Yes. My request is that we look into these 3 items, we elevate them, and then proceed with council business. Can we then do that? Councillor Motlala, please proceed with the first additional item, or you want to apply yourself a bit more? That we take Councillor Jordan. Yes. Councillor Jordan, can you please proceed about your position, your additional item?
No, Chair. The proposal that I'm bringing to to council is that there is a need in between council to process decisions of council, so that when we come here, we are able to have a guided approach in terms of what is it that needs to be done, but also to ensure that we assist council in completing its business on time. And I'm then suggesting that, one, through the chairperson, we agree to have a subcommittee which is comprised of the chairpersons, including the chairpersonship of council and the chairpersons of subcommittees, whose task then, if then council agrees on this one, then we will have to be to present terms of reference. But one such, which is a motivation, is that they will be able to assist the chairpersons and also to draw and consolidate reports from subcommittees, such that when we come to council, we don't find each subcommittee having to report. We have one report that is consolidated, made up of those reports, and that interaction between these, between the chairpersons of subcommittees. And I think in other instances, the vice chairperson, we don't have a deputy chair, we have a vice chairperson in terms of the act. Yeah, no, we must. Vice chair. So I'm then saying, probably in some instances you would have what you would call an exco. This is what I want to propose. I'm not saying that it must be an exco, but I'm proposing that it becomes a subcommittee in terms of Section 7 of the Act, which allows council to establish committees that would be able to assist council in performing its duties. I so move and propose.
No, thanks, Chair, and thank Councillor. But I think I want to put a rider to the proposal. And the rider that is that at this present moment, given the budgetary constraints, we wouldn't have a leg to stand on in trying to motivate the issue of an additional subcommittee. That's number one. But linked to that, it does not take away the proposal that Councillor Jodwana made. And I'm going to try and make it very easy for all of us. Before each and every council meeting, there's a meeting which members might not be aware of. We just extend the participants in that meeting. And there's the chairperson's office meeting, which normally is the chairperson and the deputy chair moving. So what we then need to do to cover the aspect that the Councillor Jodwana is raising, we just included the other chairpersons of the subcommittee, because then it assists in refining the approach towards, and I would imagine that that type of an exercise would shorten the duration of the council business, because we are starting to sound monotonous, like a broken record, going through processes. There are certain things, if you are a believer, when you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you do is to pray. Whether you need the prayer or not, you just pray. And half the time you don't even know what to say. So we cannot be like that. So I'm saying, taking that, the only thing that I'm proposing we change is the establishment of a subcommittee. Because that subcommittee will invariably involve the same people. So why not extend the interaction of the chairperson's office to other chairpersons without creating a new subcommittee?
Councillor Jodwana, you want to respond? Thank you, Councillor.
I'm covered, Chair, in the sense that what the deputy chairperson is saying is correct. And I accept the right because it assists us in achieving exactly what we want to do. But also, probably, a further rider on what he's saying, that at least that meeting, or I'm proposing that the chairpersons convenes us a week before council.
Yes.
So that all these things, all these reports are consolidated in the week. So if there's something that needs to be done in the meeting, then it will be done in that regard. Thank you very much.
Thank you, colleagues. I think to bring further context into this, normally before council, myself and vice chairperson, we sit and consolidate issues remaining, issues outstanding, but we are not head of different portfolios of the subcommittees. Sometimes we find ourselves missing some of the components from these committees. But also in many governance institutions, there is an exco-like where each portfolio head then an ad hoc meeting where we're starting afresh in receiving views. But some of the views we can reduce, consolidate, and manage from that side, and at least work on the agenda in a very strategic manner. I think to Secretariat as well, we'll be able to manage our time, manage the proceedings as well. So as Councillor Mohlala is saying, from the chair's desk, we need then to expand the chairs, chairpersons that sits by working with the chairpersons of committees coming through. it is still the application, Councillor Jodwana, of Section 7, because we are formulating the committee in that regard. So it will be formal and fully instituted in that manner. I have not seen any objections. Are we moving in that? Today, I am so left-handed. Now English is not coming as well. Yes. Second, okay. Yes. Yes, Councillor Mavumengwana and Councillor Dichabe, they are saying, they are moving for supporting this. Then we come to, thank you, Councillor Jodwana, for regularizing this insight, but also from myself as the chairperson, I appreciate it because I'm a very systematic person, and it frustrates me sometimes when I cannot see a particular map that I am, familiar with. But it's not for me. It's for council. Yes. The second issue, Councillor Mohlala.
No, thanks, Chair. I was trying to attend. The one item is simply written, Minister's concern on the names referred back by the council. And then the other point is it's written council guidelines and guidance of naming. So my input then therefore would be at the same time disposing of those two items before we go to issues of reports. I think the first point that we realized is that when we look at minister's concern on the names, in fact, the number of names referred back by the council, it's actually a past event. It's an event emanating from our last interaction in the Eastern Cape. We sent a lot of names back because there were certain areas in the application that still needed treatment. But this point then opened up another awareness in our work. As and when you have a huge number, as it were, of names that were referred back, that is not balanced by receipt of being thick and fast as they are supposed to be coming. And then causes a problem for us in terms of when we meet, because the biggest mandate for us is to process applications of proposal of names, new names, change of old names, and so forth and so on. And then we asked ourselves, or the generic we means the chairperson's office. Now, to say, what is it that we can do as a council to improve on that? Right? That's the first question. The second question is, how do we ensure that provinces that are lagging behind, the ones that the chairperson just described as, provinces that are actually dragging our work back, engineer them, reignite them to be able to be part of us and taking the process forward. Now, we have got a number of started with Mpumalanga. It just slipped our mind. When we do awareness campaigns, part of the things that we should carry into an awareness campaign, we propose that it be application forms. Okay. The point that I was trying to drive yesterday of saying that even an individual citizen of the country can make an application. It will make even more sense if people in attendance already have access to the form. Even if that person were to carry that form home, when that person arrives at home, the form reminds the person that, hey man, by the way, I can fill up this thing and propose a name change. I don't have to call a meeting to propose a name change. Okay? And then in that manner, I remember, I always put this as an example. One year when around August, the 9th of August was going to be celebrated in Tshwane. And it was going to be celebrated by the president opening up a new museum. Now, where the new museum is built is in a square which used to be Stradom Square. And then there was a need to change the name of the square from Stradom Square to Lillian Ngoyi. But there was no application for the name change. And the president was saying, I'm not coming to open that museum if that square is still Stradom Square. So a public participation meeting, I'm just saying this as a form of a strategy. A public participation meeting was organized because you can't do that without going through a public participation. So in the very same public participation meeting, an application was received. And the application through all processes, no step was skipped. And by the 9th, when the president came to open the museum, the square was Lillian Ngoyi Square. The most unfortunate thing is that days before the MINMEC meeting,
persons must lead the training so that to ensure that provinces are capacitated. So he says that provinces must be educated, PGNC secretariats, because he was just seeing that names are referred back, maybe information was not included, so that training should be intensified. That is his recommendation. And thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mthembu. Councillor Masita.
Thank you, Chairperson. I want to make I don't know whether it's an amendment or an addition to the delegation that is supposed to visit provinces, that maybe we also beef up that delegation with council members who are found or who reside in those provinces. Let's take an example of Limpopo. We have got Councillor Twala here as the chair, and then we get other councillors who come from Limpopo to beef up the delegation of the chairperson and a deputy. The other thing that we should make observation on is what Thuli has just indicated in terms of capacity building, aligning it with what Councillor Twala has indicated in that their term of office has expired, but a word of mouth is that their term of office is going to be extended. Now, if we don't get that written undertaking of extension, and then the period of capacity building comes, who are we going to capacitate? Referencing to Limpopo. So we need to expedite this chairperson and deputy chairperson, because already we can see the signs of contradictions playing out. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you for that point, Councillor. I also want us to find ways of who exactly then will be coming to this training of the 16th, unless we do training twice a year. So we proceed this, and then once, and we continue and call those, just like at work induction, as they come, we put them, and then we proceed in that manner. I think let's follow that. Thanks, Councillor. I think we were going to leave some people behind and others. Councillor Shina, as we close in the matter, because I think we've found each other, our strategy is clear, we can move on. Welcome, Councillor Naidu, representative from Kokta.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mine is very quick. I just want us to commit to time. When do we expect to get the schedule of the dates? In a week's time, in 2 weeks' time, just so that we wrap up this item with that expectation in mind. Thanks.
Ms. Mtembu, can you confirm anything now?
The training of provinces, okay, it's just the 15th and 16th of September. Oh, the visit of, the visit to provinces. Okay, because it's something that council is agreeing on now. We'll just have to go back to the office, and then we'll circulate those dates as soon as possible with the chairperson and the council. The visit to provinces. Is the visit, we are speaking about the visit to struggling to provinces, yes, yes.
Okay. All right. What we can do for now is commit into saying it will be before the next council meeting, so that we give you a report. Yes. Yeah. We will not leave you behind. Don't worry, Councillor. Councillor Khan, we are focusing on your point now. We have resolved on the two others. Mike, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the proposal was that I would like to move is in relation to regularizing the work that we do, our activities, our performance, and it's basically premised on us having support. To use your words, Chair, to manage, consolidate, be effective, strategic, in fulfilling our mandate, it is very important that we have and possess the necessary administrative support. I speak from personal experience as being the scribe for the Legislative Review Committee. I'm not a good scribe, so I've got to manage that. I've got to type up the minutes because the executive services, unfortunately, is overburdened with work. So that is then left to me as a scribe to do, and then to get it out and get it all ready for the next, for circulation with the subcommittee, and then eventually to council. It's a tedious process. Ideally, subcommittees would have an administrative assistant that sits there and takes the minutes and then prepares it for us. I think that would go a far way in ensuring that we deliver our work effectively and professionally. So I'm doing it, I'm managing it, but it's under severe constraints, and I feel somewhat reluctant even to contact Ms. Ntembu from time to time because I know what her workload is. And more importantly, if we have that kind of administrative support, I think that we would be able to work more effectively, and that the current executive or the corporate, assistant, I'm referring to Ms. Ntembu and Mr. Ndecheni Nchoka, could do and fulfill their mandate and the work that they were actually required to perform. So that is what I would like to move for the consideration of an administrative assistant. And there are several interns available. People are willing to do work. We could even capacitate that further by opening it up for interns to assist that administrative assistant. That is what I'm moving for. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Paga. Yes. I think we've noted your concern, and it is indeed a big issue for both parties. Councillor Mohlali?
Yeah, thanks for let me borrow that word, big. I was going to say serious. It's a big issue, the issue that you are raising, Councillor Khan. And I've experienced serious frustrations. And I think we need to put this on the table. We cannot properly or effectively operate with only Mamtembu and Ndecheni. Whereas Ndecheni is not even employed for the purposes of what he's doing to assist the committee. So, and I've seen on several occasions Mamtembu running like a headless chicken in between processes of what she needs to manage in her line function. You know, the most recent one, and that one touched me a lot, it's when in a virtual meeting, which she was supposed to chair, she had no choice but to start the meeting late and be frustrated by a connection because she was rushed. You know, have you ever seen a person rush into a virtual meeting? She was rushing to a virtual meeting because she was from a physical meeting and she needed to conduct the virtual meeting when she's in her office. And she connected while she was in the lift. And there were officials already waiting for her in the office, wanted her to process other things which had nothing to do with our meeting, but with their line functions. So I'm saying, over and above what we are saying, I think this point needs to be raised very sharply by us as a council, no, with the department, that we cannot operate in the manner that we are operating. It's not even a skeleton staff. It's non-existent of staff. No? And then maybe in our correspondence, let us borrow and use and come up with suggestions. And I would implore on Councillor Khan just to do a general framework draft of how that communication has to be raised with the department. It's actually frustrating. You know, it's frustrating. And I think it's a big challenge. It's not. I thought it was a serious challenge. No, it's a big challenge. It has gone past being serious. It's big. So I'm saying, let this be the resolution of this council today, and then we need to execute that when we go back. No, thank you. Just yeah. Do you ever wipe your mic when you give it to me?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm just trying to see if our agenda, we can move, but thank you very much. Councillors, I think one needs to write and raise this concern to the DG. Yes, to the DG, write an email and a letter saying that council is very aware and council is very concerned. Because it's our true experiences in terms of the assistance we are receiving. Because our work do not end only with submission of names and receiving of names. It is beyond that call as well. One will do that and refer the matter because now we are having also special projects like the database, meaning that there'll be time where we can't find the chain to be of assistance in full because we want him to be prim and proper in facilitating the operations of the database. Meaning that we are going to be left again with a gap, and how do we proceed in that? So we'll I'll do that. I'll take that from the chair's office. We'll proceed. Colleagues, let's go now to. We have 3 hours. It is now. I was trying to calculate the time. It's 20 past 10, 20 past 11, 20 past 12, and 1. So it's 2.5 hours that we have. Yes, Councillor. Yes. Oh, scanner, okay. Whilst we scanner, can colleagues take a break then? With,
I'm sure
yeah.
when we come back, depending on the 3 musketeers, we'll save a lot of time. Let's take a break now.
Yeah, let's take a break and then, and there's some goodies outside.
There's two roaming mics and this one. Yeah, perfect. Angeke bakhulume la phansi.
So the ones who will be speaking here is the one who will be doing a presentation.
So isibeke esayidini.
Siyibeke at the side.
Does it even, I don't think it matters when a person is talking, because they'll be coming from here. So this won't be on the way. Okay. I don't think.
Maybe that side a bit, it's fine.
Yeah.
So, would you want La Paz or country?
Anything that will work for most. I can tell you. Whichever one is comfortable. Even if they share one mic, I don't think it's not convenient. That's why she's really uncomfortable. Normally, she deputy chair. So when they're together, they can share mics, they can talk. So even if they have one movie mic, they can always choose one. So whichever one that works for you, and if it's convenient.
Better? Don't you want to come this side? Don't you want to come this side?
Okay, so maybe we can remove one couch.
Sharp. Sharp, sharp.
Or maybe if we remove this couch and then it face up directly to, because they must also engage with the chairperson.
Because I don't want you at the same time. I'm a full level. So I think kono level about.
So how is your angling when you're standing there, Mr. Martin?
No, I think it's gonna be it's sharp. It's fine because yeah, sharp.
See, let's just move this one. See. Boss, Jesus available.
Colleagues, let's proceed.
O'clock, but. Oh, okay. But it's 2 o'clock. Okay. Also, chair says o'clock. Asishaye, asishaye.
Councillor, can the councillor who's making the most noise come and present? Councillor, okay, Councillor Jodwana, please start. And then it's Councillor Mlautsi and Councillor Mavumengwana. Where is Mavumengwana? 15 minutes. Questions and presentation. Bye.
To your request, the legislative review, policy and institutional framework subcommittee. Now, the report that we are going to give you, councillors, it's not on many things. From the last council, you would have received the latest, which would be the third draft amendment bill, which was worked on, and that is still at that level. The only thing, Chair, that we want to bring to council is what the committee has resolved on. When we look at the roadmap that was presented in East London, in terms of the dates that are supposed to be adhered to and the deliverables that needed to be achieved, you would notice that in the roadmap that was submitted, Chair, there is a date of the 18th of August, wherein it says the process of consulting the public on the draft amendment bill would begin. Now, in our discussion as a subcommittee, we then felt that the dates as presented in the roadmap are not. I'm trying to look for a correct wording, but they are not from a person who has been involved in the process of driving a legislative review process at another level. Was that those dates, it would not be easy even to get to that level where public participation is sought without achieving certain things. So those dates need to then to be reviewed. So the proposal then from the subcommittee was that we then need to engage with the office of the chairperson to convene a meeting between us and legal services and the office of the DDG, so that this matter is engaged and also advised from a committee point of view based on our own experiences and researches. So there is that pending meeting, which then we have agreed that We will then write a letter to the chairperson to try and arrange a meeting with us and legal services on the issue of what the roadmap seeks to outline and the deliverables. The latest, Chair, I think I must link it with the issue of police. Remember, the policies that we have adopted as council have to go a certain process, and we reported that in our meeting on the 14th of April, wherein the policy unit of the department, or policy development unit of the department, gave us what seems to be a roadmap, and I think it was circulated to you. But that roadmap is not clear to say on such and such a date. It just says 1 year, 6 months, the stages. So it gives us an impression that the people who developed the roadmap themselves have not interacted with the policies, because they would know, because in some of the documentation that was sent to you would be the SACE form. Sorry. SACE, that? Yes. So also a policy development framework. Now they sent us a policy development framework, Chair, which they should have assisted us in ensuring that in developing a policy, this is the process that needs to be followed. And in that regard is that when we try and convene that meeting, which we think and feel that it should be a physical meeting, because through a virtual meeting, you are not able to get everyone on the same power and level, because some of us are committed in virtual meeting. You can be in 2 meetings at once without paying attention to what you are supposed to do. You see, so we are then, Chair and council members, saying that from the subcommittee point of view, as a follow-up, there is a need for a meeting between us on behalf of council, together with the chair, and both legal services and the policy development unit, to ensure that we fast-track all these processes as part of that report. So that is a brief on both the legislative review framework, your policy position, and the adoption of those policies. Now, when I would like to address one other issue before I go to the last one. In the last council, we were requested to as a subcommittee to formulate a letter to the minister regarding the appointment letters that were given to members. And that letter, we are happy to inform council that that letter was drafted and it was sent to the chairperson. The chairperson has since forwarded that letter. And that letter draws the minister's attention to the fact that the term of office of the 2 councils, PGNC chairpersons or members, at Section 4 of the Act. Now that letter has been written and it has been submitted. We await the response of the minister in that. The draft remunerations policy. Yesterday, yeah. We were requested, Chair, without the count probably going into details of what is in it covers the rationale, the draft remuneration policy of council. It covers the rationale. It comes from iCloud. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Let me just give just a broad framework, but I've tried to circulate it to other members as well. And do you want us to project it? No. Yes. Through your guidance, Chair.
Will this save us time or it tells you time?
let me try and save councillors' time.
Most of the councillors haven't seen the document, so it
Okay.
would be like correct for us to discuss a document that the councillors have not seen. What we need to do is, can you forward it to the councillors and then so that they go through it and then give it to you? That's my suggestion.
I think, you know, some of these things remain work in progress.
Yes.
Because one of the revision of the handbook, yeah, which means then therefore that that part is going to be reported upon in our next meeting. But I thought, Chair, that the document was distributed to all members. If that is not the case, can we get it distributed to all possible make comments? With members going to see it for the first time, have a more just to.
I'm just saying, Chairperson, I've seen the document for the first time without having made inputs as a whole council would not benefit the council. We need to get the document and we make inputs on the document. When we come, we either approve and discuss on it, on all the inputs in the next meeting.
Yeah. Yes, Chair, I think for now it remains a proposal and it's going to be circulated. When it comes back, it will then be a first draft that needs further discussion. And then as a working document, we will then beef it up because it still has to address certain issues like your definitions, what is it that